And so, as a Christian now, I have to say, let's respond as Christ would respond. You can't quote sections of chapter 5, verse 32 of the Quran, which say that if you kill one person, it's as if you kill all of mankind. Look at that whole verse. That whole verse says that that was a teaching specifically for the Jews, the children of Israel. And we find that in the Babylonian Talmud, Tractate Sanhedrin 37a. No, the teaching for Muslims is given in the next verse, chapter 5, verse 33.
Because the Quran supposedly declares that if anyone kills a man, it's as if he has killed all mankind. I see this same verse misquoted over and over again. Here's an example. And another, and another, and some more. Why do the people who quote this verse leave most of it out? Let's read chapter 5, verse 32 and see what our friends omitted. Because of that, we ordained for the children of Israel, Allah ordained for the children of Israel. Islam's Western apologists go to the verse before it. They cut out the part about this being a teaching of the children of Israel, a quotation from the Talmud, and they claim that their severely edited, distorted verse, ripped from its context, proves that Islam is a religion of peace and tolerance.
And search for truth.
A careful study of the Muslim sources. What can we do to stop the deception and misdirection so that we can eventually have an open, honest discussion?
Then, and only then, will we start finding a way to end these kinds of attacks. If we ignore the truth, they'll just keep happening. So let's love people, let's love the truth, let's pursue it. Let's love the truth, let's pursue it.
So terrorism's a real thing, and if you want to deal with it, there's a couple of ways of doing it. One way is to stop your own terrorism. So terrorism's a real thing, and if you want to deal with it, there's a couple of ways of doing it. One way is to stop your own terrorism. When the U.S. and Britain invaded Iraq, they were aware, that is very likely to increase terrorism. In fact, that was the analysis by intelligence agencies, experts, and so on. And it happened. Terrorism increased by a factor of 7 in the year following the invasion, according to U.S. government data. Well, yeah, but it's just not a high priority. So terrorism's a real thing, and if you want to deal with it, there's a couple of ways of doing it. One way is to stop your own terrorism. That makes a big dent in it. The other is to stop supporting the sources that encourage it. Another is to just to do what the British finally did in Ireland, pay a little bit of attention to the grievances that lead people to give at least sympathy or sometimes direct support for terrorism, and the terrorists, of course, criminals. So find the criminals, apprehend them, give them fair trials, and so on. That's the way to do it. None of this is being done. I mean, just take fair trials. I mean, there are people kidnapped, actually, they claim, captured in all over the place, Afghanistan, wherever they are. And they're sent to, we know where they're sent to. They're sent to Guantanamo, Abu Ghraib, Bagram, and so on, where they're tortured brutally. And that creates terrorists. In fact, the people on the ground who work there, the interrogators and others, the intelligence people, they say that Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo have probably created more terrorists than Osama bin Laden ever did. Yeah, sure, that's the way to do it if you want. But to say that they're trying to combat terrorism is just a joke.
Now, what does this sort of misrepresentation and deception ultimately accomplish?